on, or do I need to put it on F1? Should be on green, right?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Right there. Yep. So, Melissa, tell me a little bit about your journey with Athena and how it all started. Where did you get Athena from? And
So I had been looking for a long time. We thought about getting a dog for a year, and we really wanted to invite that kind of animal into our home and walk with it and play with it. And we were really looking for a companion. And so we had been out looking, and we also knew that we wanted to adopt because that was really important to us to rescue. And I had never really intended to get a puppy. I always thought I would get an older dog, like 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever. And but I just kept looking and looking, and a couple of times I'd gone to the shelter to pick up a dog, but then it was taken, or so it just didn't work out. And then I saw Athena, which she was a sort of Labrador Rottweiler mix, and I thought, well, I'll just go out and look at her. And she was on hold. Somebody had already claimed her, and I thought, well, we'll just go out. The hold is till 1, and we'll see. And she was 3 months old, so she was teeny tiny. And I went out there, and the person never showed up, so I felt like, oh, this is meant to be, and we're going to take her home, and it's going to be great, and we're going to do all the right things, and we're going to get her trained. And so that was the beginning of the journey, and we were really just happy to have her and adored her, and she brought so much joy to our life initially. And we didn't know what we were doing, because nobody does, I don't think. If you've never trained a dog, then you don't know. So we went through a lot of different things, and she ended up being really sick when we got her because either she was really neglected, so she had tapeworm and giardia that took us like 6 months to clear out of her system. And then we were just doing like PetSmarts classes because you don't know the difference, right? And so even from a young age, I think it was a lot, and we didn't know. And we were happy to help her, and we were happy that she found us and that we were able to give her a home where she could get healthy, because when she was eating good food and she wasn't sick anymore, like, she felt so much better and her mood was better. And then, of course, she had other issues, but I think we just really enjoyed having her in our home.
What, as she progressed through her life with you, what stresses did she bring into the home?
Well, I think a couple of things happened. And one is that we didn't know the difference between just like a PetSmart class and then, of course, like a really educated and well-rounded trainer. And so while she was doing well in like these classes, it was more about tricks, etc. And I think what happened is when you have a puppy, it's very easy to let them get away with things because they're small and they're not strong. But as she got older, we realized that we couldn't, when we would walk with her, she would lunge at cars. She became very skittish, and but she was also getting stronger. And so that became more and more stressful. And then, for us, we kept thinking, well, we need to make sure she's with other dogs, and so we'd take her to the park, and it just always ended badly. There was always some sort of scuffle, and for a long time, no other dog got hurt or anything, and you were kind of like, well, is this just dog behavior, or is this more indicative of other issues? And we didn't really know at the time. So we just thought we have to do something more, because if we don't, then we're never going to be able to take her anywhere. And so it was actually when she got kicked out of a doggy daycare scenario that we were referred to you. And I think that was very, very helpful, because we started to understand what she needed versus what we thought a dog needed, which were different. And so it was really helpful. And so when we went through that, we started to learn and to manage her better. And I think for us, like, it was just the simple things that we wanted to enjoy. Like, we just wanted to walk with her. Like, we wanted to walk around our neighborhood. So we just wanted to be able to walk with her without having anxiety around our neighborhood. But I think one thing that I never expected to think about in a like owner slash dog scenario was like trust.
Yeah.
And over time it became very clear that we didn't feel like we could trust her because her behavior was so unpredictable, which puts you on edge, because even if she's never displayed violent or super aggressive behavior, you're always wondering if she was capable of that because she had so many impulses.
Yep. Yep. And so instead of going out and enjoying and being with your dog, it became a management piece of, well, we need to get her out. She needs to get the exercise, but we have to manage. And then when you're managing the environment as well.
Yeah, and I think that was the extra layer of stress that over time really became too much, because even when we knew that she would behave for us, she every time there was a dog off leash, right? And we don't go in off leash areas, but people don't follow the rules. So every time we saw a dog off leash or somebody was approaching us, like I just got really tired of having to be like, no,
call your dog.
Don't do this. And so even when we got to a point where we could enjoy our dog and feel good, we could never manage. You can't manage that environment, and that became really stressful. Because everybody just thinks like all dogs are friendly and all dogs are going to get along, and that just isn't the case.
Did you ever feel like even just having her in your home that was good enough?
How do you mean?
Meaning we're not doing walks, we're just going to isolate her. Did that ever feel okay or feel right, or?
No, for us that wasn't what we wanted, and I guess, and maybe this is true or not, but I think one of the joys of a dog's life is being outside and the smelling and being with their pack and interacting with that world, and we really enjoyed being out with her when we could. So we didn't even because we walked her a lot, so I think dogs get enjoyment from being with you on a process. So it wouldn't have even been good enough to just say, oh, we have a really big yard and go play by yourself. Because that's not the relationship we were fostering. And so we played together and we walked together. And when we couldn't do that anymore, it just didn't feel right. And also because we couldn't trust her and her behavior was so impulsive, it's not like she could lounge around the house all day while we were gone. So she was either kenneled or we were interacting with her, which meant that to have her in the house all the time just didn't really seem like a quality of life.
And I think that when you no longer have that stress that dogs like that can bring into a home, where is that now? Did you realize that there was a lot of stress that let go now that she's not?
Yeah, I think it's funny because we miss her a lot. And you will remember the good times, like the cute things that she did. And
no, you did.
But I do constantly remind myself that we did everything we could for her, and sometimes it just doesn't work. And we feel really lucky that she came to us and that she had a good home and that we could love her and appreciate her, because I really think that if she had gone somewhere else, it would have ended very badly. And so, I mean, that gives me a lot of comfort. And when I think about those good times and I'm like, oh, maybe we should have done something different, I think we had done everything. And even now when we take walks and we see other dogs, like it's a reminder of how, like, when that would happen before, like I would be like, oh my gosh, we've got to like manage this and we've got to do this. And it's not like my husband and I were like having a nice conversation and walking or like he's like, oh, do you see that dog like 15 feet ahead? And I'm like, oh yeah, let's just veer around. And then it doesn't become enjoyable, and I think that the dog feels that too, and I think Athena felt that. And so I think her behavior got a lot better, and that we were able to really enjoy her for a lot of time, and we were able to enjoy her in our home. But at some point you just have to say, like, you're just waiting for something really awful to happen.
Yeah.
And if you wait long enough,
it will. Yeah. Yeah. It's not, in the time in the 23 plus years that I've been training, dogs have come into my life, um, and they have been my dogs, and I've always taken something from that, and I've had a fair amount that their end was euthanasia because their behavior was not okay to be in society, and I don't believe in just locking a dog up and not doing things, but I've had a handful that ultimately were they pushed into a situation that wasn't fair? Never. But what we can't control is the environment and society. And when, the one little dog that comes to mind, we actually called him a serial killer, and we had to manage him all the time. And it was with people. It wasn't a dog thing. It was a people thing for him. And, we would always joke as a family that, he's our serial killer. And I think it was just a constant reminder for everybody, like, you have to manage.
Right.
And, when he was absolutely adorable and everybody wanted to run up to him. And so it was hard. It was stressful. But we still remember those times that we had with him, and they were funny and they were good. And the things that the family learned as far as just environment and how other people perceive things, you learn something from it no matter what. Right. And it's never stopped me from saying, we can't have another dog, but there's always the time for it too.
Right.
And so you remember those good things, and those good times should be remembered because that's what drives you to eventually get another dog. But then you also go, now I know a little bit more.
Right.
And now I can look at things differently and make sure that what I need in my home versus...
Well, I wouldn't pick my dog next time you would. So I'm just going to start there.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
It does,
It makes a big difference when you're not emotionally invested, that then now, somebody else brings the dog into your home that's right, and then you get to take that journey from a different perspective.
Well, it's just so funny that, like, I think culturally we're just like, dogs are great and everybody should have one. And I do believe that, but we don't, just because they're animals doesn't mean that there's not a right way to adopt and to train and to do all of that. And so I think, I've said to my husband like a million times, we would be the best next pet owners ever because we know so much more now. That you don't know when you get a dog. And some people, maybe they never need that information because their dog is so well behaved, it's so friendly, or whatever.
Right, or it's they're chameleons. There's some dogs that are just chameleons that just fit everywhere. And then there's the next level that it's pretty special when the right dog is in the right home, because then you don't really have to do much. But it definitely is different than having a dog that's a chameleon that can just pretty much go with anybody and be fine. And I actually have one of those that she could go with anybody and she'll be fine. Like, there's not, but my other two are definitely our dogs. And they wouldn't make it in other homes because it's just not who they are.
Right.
So it's a different relationship for sure. So the dogs that appear and seem so good and seem so connected, is the dog a chameleon that's just happy?
Right.
Or did they just get the right dog in the right home? And those are all factors in moving forward. So don't ever forget the good times, but don't ever forget the relief of the stress.
Right.
That happens, and that making decisions are not easy, but it definitely...
Well, I would say that's the other thing too, is that when you're making hard decisions like that, like you really have to trust that you know what's best.
Yep.
Because nobody wants to see a dog, leave this world,
Right. Yep.
And we all are animal lovers, and we all want the best outcome. And I think that was also really challenging when you're trying to make hard decisions. It would be very easy to let other people guide your decision.
Yep.
But you know your dog.
Right. And they're not in that stress.
Yeah.
And there's not a home for every dog.
Right.
And I definitely, from a dog trainer standpoint, the piece that makes me angry and and there's two sides to this. Is, one, you hear people talk about that it's the owner's fault that the
Right.
dog is the way that they are. And from a trainer's standpoint, you know, there's homes that I've been in that I go, this dog just doesn't fit here. And that there definitely is a home or a place for them. For example, there's a couple that, senior citizens that decide that they're bringing a puppy into their house and then realize that that's not really what they wanted.
Right.
It's not the right home for the puppy because they can't fill those needs based on where they're at in life. To, the people are just not connected with the dog, and the dog's not connected with people.
Right.
But then there's these other dogs that, boy, if you place them someplace else, I've seen what happens, and the dog ends up being neglected, put in the backyard.
Right.
We don't do anything with it. We feed it. We have, but we can't do anything with it because it's too aggressive or too reactive to the environment.
Right.
And that's not okay either. And so for me, I look at it from a standpoint of whoever's breeding is ultimately responsible. Whether it was a mistake,
right,
or a purposed breeding, it is ultimately their responsibility to produce dogs that can be in homes. And if they see a sour one, which you can tell, you can tell at 6 or 8 weeks old, you can tell if there's one it's going to be a handful. They should make sure that dog is placed in the home that can handle that dog.
Yeah.
And so ultimately, is it people? Yeah, because we're the ones breeding them. They're the ones that ultimately should be held accountable for what's happening. Whether it was an accident or not, it's your responsibility. You're bringing these puppies in. You have to be responsible for where they go. And I think that's, for me, what it comes down to is ultimately, is it people's fault? It is. Ultimately, it's where it starts.
Yeah, right.
Is the problem. And so, I hear all the time, well, no, it's not that Athena had a bad home and that you guys caused these problems.
No.
She evolved into who she was. And good or bad. She had a fabulous journey, and she came into your life for a reason, and maybe you don't know what that is, or maybe you have discovered some of that. I always think that for me, the dogs taught me how to be a parent.
Totally.
In not a normal parent way. Yeah. And I'm thankful for that.
Right.
So, it's challenging. There's emotional parts of being a parent, and there's emotional parts of being a dog owner that are very, very similar for me.
Yeah, I think for me too, like it would, like, well, one, you never know you're going to love your dog that much, so that's always surprising.
Yep.
And my dad said to me when I got pregnant, because I was like, I don't know if I can do this. He's like, if you thought you loved your dog,
Yep.
But also I think for me, like, dealing with something, behavior that's as challenging as Athena's was, it also really taught me just to trust myself and do what I think is right, which I think is really beneficial too, because a lot of people have a lot of opinions about how you should do things. And I think at the end it was really just like, you know what, this is about us and our life and our family and Athena, and we have to do what's best for her and what's best for us.
Exactly. So I value you as a pet owner.
Thank you.
And your journey is real, and I wanted to share that with people, that it's real and it happens, and